Yo, what's up, everyone? Back for this Monday slate. We have a 7-game slate. Usually, Mondays are one of the bigger slates, but we have a nice medium-sized slate, and it's looking pretty good. We have a nice pitchers to talk about. We have some great hitting spots. We have a Coors game also on this slate, so a lot of good things to talk about. Before we get started with anything, you can drop a like and subscribe down below. I appreciate that. And you can check out the website, links in the description. So at pitcher, we have guys like Corbin, Smith, Paddock. They're all in really good spots. I think Sonny Gray as well is a really good play facing a Pirates team that is in a big time slump. They are not hitting the ball well. They're not pitching the ball well. They've lost I think 14 of 16 games since pretty much coming out of the All-Star break. They've just stumbled. Gray's been super consistent. He's been really good for the Reds. They are very heavily favored here against the Pirates and against Jordan Lyles. I'll go with him. He's much cheaper than some of the other pitchers. I'm getting over $1,000 discount from Corbin, who's facing the Braves that are a tough offense, and then Smith is fine facing the Diamondbacks at home. But I just like the price discount on Gray. He's been really good with the strikeouts as well. 127 in 109 innings. Doesn't give up many hits. Not giving up a ton of power either with just 11 home runs. And he goes pretty deep into games, so you probably could expect 100 pitches out of him here. Just a really nice matchup and decent price tag given the way he's been pitching this season. And the second pitcher I'll go with is going to be Mlb Barea facing the Tigers. We know the Tigers are really bad against right-handed pitching. They strike out a ton, and if you take away 2 starts from Barea, those 2 starts are what have ballooned his ERA over 6.6. The start against Seattle, where he gave up 10 earned runs in just 3.2 innings, and the start against the Royals, where he gave up 7 earned runs. Other than those 2 starts, he's been great in his other outings. He's faced a couple of tough teams lately. It was great against the Dodgers, was good in Texas, good against the A's and the Reds. Really good matchup here facing the Tigers. The Angels are also heavily favored to win this game, facing Jordan Zimmermann on the other side. So Barea can go 6 innings, 5-6 innings. Decent chance he can get the win as well. So that's who I like at pitcher. And for hitting spots today, there are a couple of really good spots to highlight. The Angels are probably one of my favorite stacks, facing Jordan Zimmermann, who just gives up an insane amount of power, doesn't strike out many guys. And the Angels, they do have a ton of power up and down the lineup. Zimmermann's ERA is over 7.5. He's 0-8 on the season. Not that win and loss is important, but you just know how bad he's been just by looking at the first 2 numbers here. 7.57 ERA. Just 43 strikeouts in 60 innings. Gives up a lot of walks. Decent walks as well with 20 walks. And he's given up 51 earned runs in just 60 innings. I think the Angels can do some real damage against him. We also have the Padres facing Jimmy Yacobonis. Yacobonis also not a good pitcher for his, for this year and last year. Basically, what you're looking at for a career sample. Not a great strikeout pitcher. Gives up a lot of walks and gives up a lot of fly balls as well. The Padres are very intriguing. I think the Reds lefties are also in play against Lyles. And we haven't even talked about the Coors game yet, but we have 2 pitchers in Maeda and Gray that are decent. They're above average, but both can get blown up here in a Coors game. And last but not least, we have the Royals, who I like. So a lot of good teams to talk about. If you want to get creative, I think fading Coors is not the worst idea, because we do have other really good spots, and Coors will always gather most of the ownership. All right, so that's where I'm looking at for my bats. Lock in my Barea here. So let's start off at second base. Going to go pretty cheap at second base just because I'm going to be spending up for some other positions. I do like Scooter Gennett again. Last time I recommended him, he didn't crack the lineup, but he's been swinging the bat a little better. A couple of multi-hit games. I was watching if you're watching the telecast or watching the stream or whatever, they were talking about him making an adjustment with his stance, and looks like it's paid off as he has 2 multi-hit games and he has a hit in 3 of 4. Still hasn't really hit for power yet, but that should come. He is a decent power hitter for his career, and Lyles is just so bad against lefties. And Gennett has a couple of hits off of him in limited at-bats, if you're into that BVP kind of thing. But I do like Gennett here. He's just too good of a hitter to be at 3,400 in a great spot. Lefties have a 603 slugging and a 321 average off of Jordan Lyles. He just has he's built pretty good with the strikeouts, 23%, but the xFIP is a 5.22. He's given up a 42% fly ball rate, and this park really plays up left-handed power, and just left-handed bats in general. I'll go with Jeanette at second base. At third base, there's a couple guys that I really like. Obviously, you have the two spots in Coors. Besides those two, I love Machado and Dozier. And then if you want to go cheap, I kind of like Vlad Guerrero just because it looks like he's finally getting into a really hot streak. I'm going to go with Machado here just because I prefer to play Dozier against right-handed pitching, even though I think Dozier's going to have a good game. But Machado facing Yacobonis. Machado was one of the hottest hitters in baseball for a while. He's definitely cooled off a little bit, but he can still hit right-handed pitching, even though he's been a lot better against lefties this season. Playing at home, it's not a great park to hit in, obviously, but he still has some power at home. He has 12 home runs. He has 15 home runs against right-handed pitching, a 177 ISO, and a 424 slugging percentage. He does hit the ball in the air a lot against righties, 44.6%, and has almost a 40% hard hit rate. And career-wise, he's been pretty similar against righties and lefties. Lefty batting average is a little higher. Most of that's probably due to this season, where he's been unconsciously hot against lefties. But he still has power against righties with a career 206 ISO. The ISO is basically the same. The slugging is pretty similar too. And facing Yacobonis, not good against both sides of the plate. I like the price tag on Machado. Just given that Tatis is much more expensive than him. I feel like he's a decent value play at $4,600. You can play him at shortstop or third base. Almost a 300 average against righties, slugging over 500. xFIP is almost at 7 to lefties, but righties as well, 5.25. And the Orioles bullpen is also giving up the most home runs in baseball this season. A decent chance that the Padres can hit some bombs today. In the outfield, Mike Trout against Jordan Zimmerman. Just a really good spot for Trout. If you're going to be paying up, that's the guy I want. Even including the Coors games, I think Trout's going to go off. Zimmerman is not good at all. He's still, he's getting still due for a large sum of money. He signed a 5-year, $110 million contract, but the Tigers will probably pay him money not to pitch. This season, he's given up well over 300 average to both sides. Slugging is over 530 to both sides. Righties, he just has a 14% strikeout rate, 5.41 xFIP, almost a 40% fly ball rate against righties, and a 40% hard hit rate. We know what Mike Trout can do. Crushes righties, crushes lefties, just crushes everything. Has some stolen base upside too for Trout. And last but not least, I do like the Royals facing Panon. And I like Jorge Soler. 4,300 for Soler. He's been really good with the power. I just want to get as many guys with power, and I kind of done that with Machado, Soler, Trout. Jeanette doesn't have a ton of power, at least this year, but he's shown it in the years past, and the matchup's great for him. But Soler is the kind of guy that can go out and just hit a bomb. That's all you need out of him at this price tag. He's very cheap. He's been really good against right-handed pitching this season. But that's kind of been like an anomaly for him. He's been really good against lefties for his career, similar to both sides. Batting average is really the same. The ISO numbers are very similar too. 198 against lefties, 200 against righties. Strikeouts are pretty similar too. He has a 39% career fly ball rate against lefties, and the hard hit rate is exactly the same, 38% career-wise. For a guy in Panon, who is one of the Blue Jays' better prospects, but he hasn't really shown it at all. In all the opportunities that he's had, he hasn't really proved that he belongs in the major leagues. He's given up 7 home runs so far this season. Lefties and righties have hit him well for the power. Righties have a 5.66 xFIP. He's given up a 13% walk rate and he has a 43% hard hit rate against righties and a 44% fly ball rate. He is a very fly ball heavy pitcher, and it's supposed to be really good hitting conditions in KC. We go see the ball fly in this ballpark. So I do like some Royals to run it back. So that's what I like for this slate. Gave a couple of one-offs here in my bats, but I talked about the stacks that I like. Those are the 4 teams I'm really looking at in getting all the ownership on. The Angels, Royals, Padres, and Reds if you're fading Coors. I don't think I'll have too much interest in Coors just because we have some other really good spots and you can get some leverage there. But that's what I like. Thanks for watching, and good luck.